Mike, what the hell is going on in this
Listen,
trade between the Lakers and the Pelicans?
And the thing about it is, we'll obviously talk a ton about it. There's a lot go between that trade, between what's going on in Boston and Houston. But I know you like to play you said there would be no math because you don't like doing math. I somewhat enjoy doing some simple math. This is beyond me.
Yeah.
Some of the numbers and things and old rules that are coming into play for some of the money here is just mind-boggling to what teams are trying to do and what they can do. You're buying draft picks. It's unreal, some of the steps now of what may be going on with this Lakers-Pelicans trade just to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, I guess that's the interesting part is I just read down the list, and I'm somewhere in the middle of you guys where my eyes sort of glazed over because what I need to know about this situation is the Lakers are in the midst of trying to use every accounting trick that the league has to afford them in order to just try and field a team next year. Now, a lot of it is pointed towards this idea of a third max slot, but some of it at this point, and what we're waiting to see in an article that was published last night by Adrian Wojnarowski and Bobby Marks about this trade is, all right, what are the things, if any, that could possibly derail this thing? Because there appears to be one thing, at least, that we have in writing now that looks like kind of a big deal.
Yeah, so let's set up the parameters here, okay? We all talked about it. It was Woj broke the story last week that the Lakers are going to pick up Anthony Davis on July 6th. He has a $4 million trade kicker in his contract that basically says if he's traded, guess what? You pay me $4 million.
Yeah,
okay?
Good for him,
Good
man.
for him.
Yeah.
So now there's this story out on ESPN.com with Bobby Marks and Adrian Wojnarowski that you guys alluded to, and the first line is, the Lakers are scrambling to reshape the parameters of the Anthony Davis trade with New Orleans and create the capacity for $32 million plus in salary cap space when the free agent moratorium ends July 6th, league sources telling ESPN. And when this first story, or the story first came out, there was the Lakers had wanted to push this back till July 30th for cap reasons, and the Pelicans were in no way interested in helping the Lakers in any way, shape, or form, more than giving them Anthony Davis. They wanted it done by July 6th, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we all were. But as they're going through this process, and again, we should report as we have breaking news here for sure so people understand, there is no truth that the Lakers are attempting to play 3-on-5 this season. In the NBA, okay?
They might have to.
There is no truth that it's just going to be Kuzma, Anthony Davis, and LeBron. We can scratch that one.
Although, man, when you see the headline, the Lakers are hustling to create a max salary slot, you think at first it's a third max salary slot like the one that we're talking about, but later in this article, we wonder differently.
Exactly. So what they're trying to do now, according to this article, are engaging with additional teams to take on the contracts. This is my favorite line in the whole story. Of 3 of the remaining 5 players on the team roster. Right now, there are only 5 players on the Lakers roster. And the 3 remaining are Mo Wagner, by the way. Always say it Wagner.
Always say Wagner.
Isaac Bonga and
it.
Jamario Jones. I didn't know this person, Jamario Jones, so I feel bad about that. So in other words, they're trying to figure out a way they can leverage those guys, ship them out, somehow create more cap space, and then it'll be Kuzma, LeBron, eventually Anthony Davis, and a lot of cheap labor.
I mean, and we're not even going to try and talk about the numbers because you don't want to hear it. I don't even want to hear it.
And you know my philosophy.
It's my understanding that there would be no math.
I stand by it.
I didn't even know this. I read this line. Teams are allowed to pay as much as $5.2 million to buy draft picks in a calendar year, second-round picks. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, and Brian Windhorst is bringing up old Ted Stepien rules going on. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I mean, and listen, I got to believe nobody out there wants to hear the minutia of this, so we are emailing like crazy Woj and Bobby Marks to give us some simple answers and or solutions for this to go down, because all of a sudden this thing got a little bit confusing, and could it possibly not happen?
Yeah, because here's the line, right? Here's the line that we all read in the article, and we're like, whoa.
And again, this article is by Woj and Bobby Marks.
Yeah. It says, if Davis doesn't waive his $4.1 million trade bonus, which, by the way, no way he should waive that.
Well, unless they can make it up to
I guess this is the thing, is we originally thought, all right, there's no way he's going to waive this, so.
Yeah. So if he doesn't waive his trade bonus, the Lakers Pelicans trade would not be allowed, even if Los Angeles finds a third team for the players not included in the original deal with New Orleans, which would be Mo Wagner, Isaac Bonga, and Jamario Jones.
Yeah, we read that line and we were like, what wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't hear anything about that, and we certainly are not into the minutia aficionados of this thing at all.
We try to be minutia free.
But I guess my question for Woj or Bobby Marks in this instance, and I know we're reaching out to them, is if he doesn't waive his $4.1 million trade bonus, would the trade involving the third team with these guys not be allowed, or the original trade that we're talking about?
Exactly.
Because that would be the confusing part of all this.
Well, listen, just so you know, from my perspective, all of this is confusing.
All confusing.
Well, I mean, I think it just
well.
boils down to this one question, because while all the rest of it is fun to say, it's all just a fancy way of saying the Lakers are trying to use whatever accounting tricks they can to smooth out the book so that they can afford to bring another max free agent. And like the rest of it to me is simple. It just has funny names that I don't care about.
Right.
This is the one thing in here that seems to have any sort of weight to it.